This stupid ass thing. Oh my gosh. I'll be right there. I'll be there in just a sec. You guys hear me now? All right, thanks, guys. Sorry about that. All right, sorry about that. Okay, all right. Jeez, I don't even know where I was. So, anyways, Josh Jacobs might cost us $13 million, and we can get there by doing $12 million a year average in his salary, and then give him a bunch of incentives, and then we can get him there. But it won't impact the cap too much. It's a very doable contract, and we'll just move on from that. Oh my gosh, killing me. This is, you know. So you know what it is like. I don't know if that's too much. You guys would probably be bored, but hear me talk about it. So we switched over to the Rodecaster Pro 2, which I love. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment. But every once in a while, it dies. The audio just dips out. And the only way to redo it is to restart the whole thing. I got to restart the Rodecaster, and I got to restart our broadcasting software. It's the only way to do it. So I have to end the show and then restart the show. So anyways, more than you guys want to know probably, but it's a total pain in the ass and makes me want to go back to the analog board that we used to have. All right. What Joe says, believing in Jesus does help. I can hear again. Amen. We've all been cured. We've had the yes. Paul says, I can hear voices in my head again. Absolutely. We all can. I appreciate you very much. Erica S says, turn on the chipmunk.
There you go, Erica. You want me to turn on the chipmunk voice? There it goes. I don't know why it always makes me want to like sound like a stoner, man, or like I'm just running real slow.
All right. Let me get the hell out of here. Oh, no, I didn't mean to cheer myself. There we go. That's what I was doing. All right, let's hit a break, and then we're going to talk about Max Crosby.
What's up, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Will Compton. You're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with my boys Murph, Swaggy Jeff, and Uncle Mosh. Tune in because they fucking put out a banger podcast.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murph and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, I appreciate you, everybody that's in the chat room tonight. Appreciate you, JB. He's got laughing faces. You got this, Murph. Man, I'm on the struggle bus, man. Trying to keep this thing together. I got too many damn buttons to push. I don't know where is. I don't even know where the button is that says for me to push the damn button.
Just press the damn button there.
I'm freaking trying, man. I'm trying.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Thanks, Rock. All right, so here we go. So I want to talk a little bit about one of our favorite podcasts is, of course, Bussin' with the Boys. Shout out, the boy, Will Compton. We give him a lot of shit, but no, shout out the boy, Will Compton, and Taylor Lewan, and all the guys behind the scenes there, our good buddy Blas, and JP, and Garrett, and we never met Jack, but shout out Jack. All those guys, man, they're great. And there's a new guy over there, too. I don't know the new guy, but anyways, so they've always been really good to us, and listen, they just put out good content, and one of the things that I gravitated to that show, not only because it was kind of like a little bit of inside baseball about football, but they were the first two active players to do a podcast. Now there's active players all over the damn place. Von Miller's got one, and the Kelsey brothers got one, and everybody's got a damn podcast. But Will and Taylor were the first guys to do it. And the thing that as just an NFL junkie, I was fascinated by the insight that they gave us to football. And then Will went off and became a Raider twice and developed these relationships with other Raider players. And now you get this fabulous insight into Raider shit. And so what went from just being a good, jokey, funny, dick and fart jokes kind of podcast also is providing these really insightful freaking looks into what it's like to be an NFL athlete. Listening to Taylor talk about, the mental struggles of going through 2 ACLs and like all that kind of stuff. Will, being just a freaking veteran, just a locker room guy, a glue guy, just a guy that's at this point, and this is not a shot, but kind of barely in the league at this point, so listening to these guys go through their journeys, it was a really neat insight. Well, this latest episode of Bussin' with the Boys is an absolute must listen for you, Raider Nation. It's probably the only podcast I'm going to go back and listen to again. Like, I don't listen to podcasts twice, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I don't listen to them twice. I'm going to go back and listen to this one again because they go to Vegas. They're in the freaking Max Crosby's living room with him and his 3 dogs, and it's on the YouTube. So it's on YouTube or it's on the audio. They don't need our help with subscribers. They're like a top 10 podcast now in the world in terms of sports. But so anyways, it's such good conversation. They get into some, if I wanted to highlight everything that hit my button as a freaking Raider fan, we'd be here all night just listening to the Bussin' with the Boys episode. But I did pull a few clips that I want to play for you guys. And I'm telling you, it's so like the things that like a lot of times as fans, we speculate on. And I always say that like, we can speculate about wild theories and all kinds of different stuff. And until the team or some news story or something gives us evidence to believe otherwise, like we got to give those speculations at least merit, or, they don't have to be validated, but they got to have merit because there's nothing to prove it wrong. So this episode digs into so much stuff that brings light to things. I ought to play the, new shit's come to light. Because it brings a lot of light. I'm telling you, you will love it, Raider Nation. Everybody that I've turned on to it that's a Raider fan has been like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. It's fantastic. And it's about Max, but he gets into the culture of the Raiders right now. And that's such a big part of conversation for us this year. Is it like, what is this new version of the Raiders that we're all experiencing? So go and listen to it. Check it out. And let's listen to a few things here. All right, this one's kind of irrelevant to today because of the news of Tom Brady. But, there was a lot of question around whether Tom Brady would become a Raider. And they posed the question to Max about what he thinks about that.
Hypothetically, who do you want to be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders?
Who do I want?
Like if it was just your world, they call you, say who you want. You got who you want.
You get to play GM for
You
a
get to
day.
play GM. Now, this will be taken out of context. People are like, oh, Max wants this guy, wants that guy. I'm just saying perfect world, boss.
Yeah, fun hypothetical.
Tom Brady?
I would love to have Tom Brady. I don't know how that could be controversial.
That
it's
can't
fucking
be.
Tom Brady. Bro.
It's Tom Brady.
for sure.
As a leader, as a player,
As the GOAT.
as the GOAT, yeah. I would love to play with Tom Brady.
Bro.
If he come to Vegas, bro.
Have you met him?
I'll go to wherever he's at to introduce myself. The level of respect I got for him, bro, is out this world. So, yeah, I would love to have Tom Brady.
All right, there is. He would love to have Tom Brady. I don't know if I would have loved it for us to have Tom Brady, but whatever. It's not part of the conversation now. But I thought his response to that was very interesting. You can just hear the appreciation of it. It's like, and it was funny. Like I loved what he said. He goes, "How could that be a controversy?" And that's kind of what I felt like too. It was like, how is this a controversy? Like he's the greatest quarterback of all time. All right. Next up, let's hear him talk about offensive coordinators and how offensive coordinators game plan and the things that, like, especially the Niners did to try to stifle Max Crosby on the field.
There's some teams that think I'm the biggest piece of shit on the planet. Like,
Really?
of course. Like,
Bro, he's so loud.
I'm loud. I can't help myself. I love it. There's certain teams that you could tell, like, they're trying to f me up. Like the Niners coach and all them, they like butter me up all week. They're like, man, besides Bosa, he's probably the best guy. Once we got to the game, they tried to send the house at me, bro. The Niners blocking, like the schemes that they do, I've never experienced anything like it. Like, bro, they would tackle tight end both going down, and the guard would, like, they were coming at angles you didn't even know where the they were coming from, bro. It was just different. That's the coolest thing about the league is like being in a position, you know how it is. Like you're on an island the whole game. You don't even have to worry about it. So like that's your responsibilities. For me, it's the opposite. I know they're going to be sending shit at me. It's a different type of challenge every week. And all the offensive coordinators, they all got a different way of approaching it. And it's cool because after the games, they'll talk to be like, yeah, we're trying to fuck you up and we're trying to do this. And blah. I'm like, oh, you got me on this, but I fucked you up on that play.
Yeah.
So it's cool, man. That's what the league's all about.
Ah, there it is, man. That's good. It's so good, man. So I'd love to hear that insight about what they were doing to him to try to neutralize him. Because, you know, we as fans, we see like, you know, the production drops down and we knew that like teams were focusing on him. You know, we knew that was going to be the case once Chandler Jones wasn't playing. But man, like to hear about like the complex designs about what offensive coordinators are doing to go out of their way to just attack Max Crosby. Like it hits my freaking football nerddom like crazy.
He's a big
Just
boy. He knows
press
what
the
he said.
damn
What'd you say?
button, nerd.
All right, so next up, let's hear him talk about. All right, so here's what some of his expectations are, where he wants to go and see his Raider career, what he wants to see it manifest to.
What are other goals on that? What are other goals on that list?
There's that. Oh, my bad.
Put it to your mouth.
I want to be in the Hall of Fame. That's something I want to be in. I want to be the Raiders' all-time sack leader. Like there's like the main goal is like I want to definitely do that, but I want to have a career where like when people look back, like the biggest thing for me, like the numbers and shit is cool, like the jacket, all that shit's cool, but like my main focus is like trying to impact the way the game is played. Like in the NFL now, there's only a few guys that you really look at and are like, damn, he's different. I don't know what it is, like just the way he plays. Like I watch like Chris Jones and like a Michael Parsons and those guys, like they're just something different when they're out on the field. Like it's like a presence, and like that's what I want to leave back. Like when people look back and talk about me, they're not going to talk about the stats. At the end of the day, they don't talk about Lawrence Taylor's sacks. They talk about when that dude is on the field, he's a fucking animal.
And
that's the way I look at it. Like inspiring kids, yeah, inspiring kids. Like I want to be that guy that kids want to be like. Like that's what matters most to me.
All right, here we go. Good stuff there again from Max. The only thing, if there was just like one little teeny thing that I would have liked to have heard him saying that, win a Super Bowl, Max. Like I love the idea that you want to, you know, be this guy. And look, if you are that guy, it's going to certainly contribute to the Raiders winning a Super Bowl. But I would have liked to have heard him say, you know, that like one of the things I really want to do is win a championship. That would have been cool. But anyways, so there he is on his expectations. And then last. So here you go. This ought to feed the freaking I don't know, whatever. It's him on Derek Carr getting benched, and it's just kind of a flat out take on what happened and what his experience was when Derek got sat down.
Can you talk about when the switch with Derek Carr was made? How it impacted you and how you felt like it probably impacted the team in that moment, if at all, because obviously there was a lot of noise outside of the building.
Yeah.
A lot of noise.
A lot of noise. Definitely outside the building. It was tough, bro. I remember that morning.
Because DC's been the franchise guy since you've came to the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah. He was all 4 years. He was my quarterback. He's 9 years as a starter, which is crazy. It doesn't happen. So, yeah, I'm sitting there. You're hearing rumors like, okay, is Derek going to get benched this week? You know, what is going on, blah, blah, blah. And you're just kind of hearing rumors. But you know how it is. You don't believe all this shit. You're just like, okay, we'll see. And then all of a sudden, like, we went in that morning, and me and DC are always the first two guys in there. And we sit there and eat breakfast. So, like, squad is at 8. Like, we're in there at 6 o'clock. And we sit there and we eat breakfast together. We talk. We go in the hot tub. I go take a dump, and then he goes and does whatever he does. You know what I mean? So I go in there, and DC wasn't there at the breakfast table. And so I asked Angie, who's there. She runs the kitchen. She's the best. Shout out to Angie. This is the camera. I love you, Angie. She's the best. She always sits with us and watches it and just chops it up with us. And I was like, Angie, where's DC? Have you seen him? She's like, no, he hasn't been in yet. And that's in my head, I'm like, fuck.
Oops.
You know what I mean? Something went down. So, yeah, like an hour later, I'm in my locker. I just got out the hot tub, and DC walks in, and he's looking at me, and I just knew. Like, I just knew immediately. And he just, whatever, he gave me a man hug. He's like, bro, I don't want to make it look like I'm quitting on y'all or anything, but like me and Josh talk, like I'm gonna go home and for these next 2 weeks and, figure out my situation. But it was like, obviously they had their business behind the scenes and they've had, had an agreement. So like, it wasn't like he just like, fuck it, I'm not showing up. It was just like,
I guess I forgot to
business.
censor
So,
this one.
Yeah, it was tough. Like, DC's my boy, bro. Like, me and DC have been always, as friends. Like, bro, he's a great dude. I love DC, and he's going to, somebody's going to have him as their starter next year, and hopefully I get to play against him. It'd be dope. But I wish him the best, bro. It's hard. Like, in this league, there's really, you can play for a team for 10 years, give everything you got, like, but unless you're like Michael Jordan or you're Tom Brady, like even Tom Brady, it's the same thing. Like, bro, he was in year 21, 6 Super Bowl, and he ended with a bad relationship, and they got rid of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there was kind of friction. Like, it's crazy, bro. At the end of the day,
it's like the business of
it's a business, and that's the thing you got to realize. It's not personal. It's not like people don't like DC. Everyone, everyone's cool with DC. We love them, but it is what it is. Josh and Dave, they got their vision of what they want, and that's just part of this business, man. I trust them. I'm on this team, and they're my coaches. At the end of the day, I got to believe in what they got, you know what I mean, and what they're bringing and what they're doing. But at the same time, it's hard when it's your boy, and there's emotion to it. So it's like, damn, what the fuck? And then you want to get mad, but it's like, at the same time, you have to understand both sides of it. And that's kind of what I've learned, being in the league more. It's like, you can't take shit personally because it's not personal, bro. It's a $1 billion business, and it is what it is.
This is Raiders Fan Radio. I'm Brent Musburger, and I don't care who wins as long as it's the Raiders.
This is Trent Sig, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with Murph, Swag Jeff, and Uncle Mosh. Just win, baby.
All right, so good stuff there. So definitely go check out that podcast, Bussin' with the Boys, Max Crosby, and we appreciate the boy, Will, and again, all the other guys for the insight in the interview and the great content. All right, another show I'm a big fan of nowadays is the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee is, man, this dude's funny as heck. And another guy that brings a lot of really unique insight into a lot of different things. And this isn't a necessarily a Raider thing, but I felt like it was an indirect, certainly Raider thing. And that is the case for officiating and whether the NFL is rigged against certain teams or not. And listen, we've had a lot of conspiracy theories out there for Raider Nation for a lot of years. And I think that there was a lot of things that were very valid around, the negativity that was spewed towards Al Davis because he literally was suing the league, right? And so I think that there was, again, human nature, even if it wasn't overtly like instructed to work calls against the Raiders, we've been on the wrong side of calls, one, if not 10 too many times throughout history. And in numerous times, costing us championships, the Immaculate Deception, the Rob Lytle non-fumble, Tony Saragusa breaking Rich Gannon's shoulder. Like, there's a lot of things that have happened that took the Raiders out of competing for a championship. We've still got 3 Lombardis despite those things. But, if Rich Gannon is healthy, guess what? We're going to smoke the dang Giants in the Super Bowl. Like, it ain't even funny. The freaking Super Bowl was between the Ravens and the Raiders. And the Raiders could have won that game if we had a healthy Rich Gannon. And so, anyways, point being that, you could call the Tuck rule. You could go, like, there's just numerous of these, right? But I think that the idea is this is where I'm really landing on. Do I think there's an overall conspiracy? I don't believe that. I think that there is human nature that comes into play, but I don't think there's some script that's out there. Okay. So I don't believe the NFL is, quote, rigged. I don't think so. And you could ask any fan of any team and they're going to tell you that the refs got it out for them. Ask a Saints fan. You know what I mean? Ask a Rams fan. There's a lot of teams that got burned in championship games or huge playoff games because of missed calls or whatever. So I don't think that it's necessarily, it certainly happens to us more often, but I don't think it's necessarily just a Raider thing. But here's what I do think the NFL has a big issue with, and this is where we're going to get back into the Pat McAfee show. We have a serious officiating issue in the league. And that was no more evident than on this last Sunday in that Chiefs-Bengals game. It was atrocious. And let's go ahead and listen to his comments first. I'll give you my comments on it. And then we're gonna hear from you and get your comments, because you're more of you and less of us is a good thing. And we're gonna jump in and to the Sea of Fans mailbag. But let's check out what Pat had to say.
I do think, though, we have a massive officiating issue.
Yeah.
I think refs suck. And not all refs. There are some refs that suck. And they shouldn't be in playoff games. Why are they in playoff games? Especially when there's only 2 games and there's going to be 50 million people watching. That's a great question. We've been talking about the officiating stinking for a long time.
Yeah.
I got tweets from a lot of Ohio f***s over there in Cincinnati who are diehard Who Dey fans and Bengals fans. Why don't you use your platform, and why don't you try to make the NFL better for once? Why don't you not candy coat it, not dance around it, not be the fake funny guy that you are, and why don't you call it the NFL for officiating? So this morning, I dove through our Twitter account, and we've literally been talking about this since 2018, about how full-time refs optically would just look much better to everybody. Because you got part-time refs and they're not full-time refs, there's a chance that they could be maybe swayed by somebody outside the NFL. Since they're not completely committed to the NFL, there's a chance that somebody outside could get a hold of them. Now, I think they get paid well, but what is well? What is the line? Especially with how much money is potentially being made off of these games and off of these deals and off these advertising deals and the sports gambling and everything like that. What is good money in comparison to? So you make them full-time, boom, we can eliminate that distraction of potentially getting swayed elsewhere, like all politicians, because they don't get paid enough, so they're easily swayed by big pharma, big gas, fucking alcohol, tobacco, whatever. You can get named into it. That's where all the money comes from, because they're able to be swayed because they don't make enough. Compared to who? They don't make enough in doing their job, so they're easily swayed. So it's like kind of a little bit of a battle optically to watch and say, yeah, that's real, yeah, that's not. With the NFL, the officials not being full-time and the officials being terrible at what they're doing, and the way these games are being scrutinized at a different level because how big the fucking league is and how many eyes are on there, and with all the money coming in with us putting our actual money on these games now legally, it's going to get called into question.
All right, there you go. So very interesting comments there from Pat McAfee. And yeah, and I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, is that we have an officiating issue. And why not have full-time officials? And I think this is where I land on it. And then I'm going to get out of here and we're going to get to the Sea of Fans mailbag. Here's where I land on it. When you have a multi-billion-dollar global organization like the NFL that's only getting bigger, they're only getting bigger in Europe, they're only growing more, playing games now in Mexico City, all the things that the Raiders are doing, or excuse me, the NFL is doing to grow, and the dog's freaking out, so I'll have to go here in a second. All the things that the NFL is doing to grow their sport, the number one thing you can't have is question. The NFL is rigged was trending on Twitter after that game. That's not good. You can't have your product be questioned like that, and the whatever the genuine nature, the whatever the word I'm looking for. There's a big word I'm sure I'm missing, but the credibility of your games. If those things are called into question, the NFL dies. Like, that's it. The end. That's why they never allowed gambling to begin with. Was because they were so worried about the idea that if they endorsed gambling, that it would pull into question the credibility of the outcome of games. And so if that is a true thing to happen, so you can't have that happen. Well, how do you get rid of that? You have full-time officials. Like, why not? Why not? Everybody else is making millions of dollars. Why can't the freaking officials work full-time job? This ain't like the old days where Phil Villapiano had to work at a trucking company in the offseason because he didn't make enough money playing for the Raiders to support his family. That's not the world that we're in anymore. So these referees, if they're not being compensated fairly during the course of the season, then compensate them. Double their freaking salaries. Shit, triple their salaries. But make it a full-time job so they're doing the work there. But how much training do you go through in your job? A lot, right? So and it's constant. So put them through constant training in the off season, make these guys freaking, make their a more valuable asset. Take pride in your officiating. And also the last thing I'll say is this, I'm gonna shut up. Quit plucking them off the field and put them in the booth. You got Dean Blandino, you got Mike Pereira, you got whatever. All these guys are now working for networks. And you've taken them off. You've taken the best officials off the field and stuck them on stuck them up in the booth to work for Fox or whoever else, and we're left with Ron Torbort. Right? That you guys get what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. Like, let's freaking move past this, NFL. Like, this can't be an issue. Like, because I'll tell you, if anything dings up my fandom, it's that. Like, my fandom got a little dinged up after that Bengals game. Like, and not only because I hate the Chiefs and I wanted them to lose so bad, but like, I'm thinking like, wow, like really? Like, you're really like going to give them an extra down? Like, in all this freaking modern day technology that we have, and you can't keep track of that. And if like the one guy runs in, but he doesn't blow his whistle and no one else is reacting to it in the officiating crew, like that looks funky as hell. The guy hitting the wire in the previous with Kern hitting the wire. You're telling me that you can't tell if that thing hit the wire or not? You can't use your freaking big boy brain and realize that the trajectory of the football changed, even if you don't have footage of it. Like, yeah, the thing it went up and then it stopped and it came to the ground. Like, you can't freaking like take that into consideration and make a proper judgment call. Bad look, NFL. Bad look. And I hope they get it figured out. I'm going to trust that they will, because there's a lot of money riding on the line. Because if we as fans lose our faith in the integrity of the game, this thing is done. All right, see fans mailbag. Where's it at? There it is.
There he is, baiting, looking. He's under the gun. He's fired, he's thrown. It is.
There you go. Paul in there says our buddy Mo said they were given an extra minute 10 on the clock as well. I mean, come on, man. You don't want people to think that your league is rigged? Well, then don't do dumb stuff like that. All right, so speaking of Paul, we're going to get to some emails. Here at the Sea of Fans mailbag, we feature more of you and less of us, because that's always a better thing. Pardon my hiccups. Me and the dog got hiccups all the time. So we appreciate you, Raider Nation. Oh, let me go ahead and shout out the chat room. Frankie's in there. Lee B is in there. Paul's in there. Tom is in there. Speaking of Tom, I'm going to read your email next. Paul is in there. The White Stallion. Chris Potts. What's up, Chris Potts? Man, long time no see, brother. Hope everything is going well. Chris Potts, famously of the black hole up there in Jersey. Appreciate you, Chris Potts. Lencho is in there. Erica S is in there. Dave Cooper is in there. Let's see. He says, let's see the dog. I just held them up a minute ago. Now I got to read them. But appreciate you, Dave Cooper. Corey Fleck is in there. Lencho, Lee B. Raiders 805. Ebony Graves is in there. Vibrators in there. Running Bear's in there. What's up, Running Bear? Appreciate you. Appreciate Raider Nomad and all of our good friends joining us tonight for this episode of Raiders Fan Radio. All right. Let's go to T-Hom. Let's see what T-Hom has to say. He says, okay, Raider Nation, we're getting close to the beginning of the league year, and with that, we'll see what significant free agent signings come about. I hope we bring in at least 2, if not 3, impact players that on that defensive side. And oh my gosh, the dog. Primarily along the front. Whatever happens, I strongly believe 3 things. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers would simply be too expensive to bring in for 1 to 2 years, and that's not going to be the next man up. Any good? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to do this, guys. I'm gonna have to play a break here and go. The dog is gonna be whining the whole time. Hold on. It's just the joys of doing a selfie. Hang in there. Hold on.
Hey, what's up? It's Brockman from the Rich Eisen Show.
And it's Del Tufo from the Rich Eisen Show.
You're listening to Murph and Mosh on Raiders Fan Radio. Yes.
He whines to get out, and then I let him out, and then he freaking walks back over here to the desk. Oh my gosh. All right, there we go. Puppy, puppy time. All right. As for the good, back to T-Hom's email. Sorry about that. Kill Jada says puppy's got to go pee. Yeah, absolutely, he does. He's probably gonna end up peeing somewhere in here. As for the good friends known as the McZiggler crew, I only have one thought. We all believe that Ziggler doesn't have nearly as long a leash as Gruden had, but the winning doesn't start to happen quickly in 2023. Will Davis get rid of both guys, or will he have enough faith in Ziggler to let him stay the course and just kiss his buddy goodbye? I think that's the thing. I think that McDaniels is the one that gets let go first. Cincinnati has shown that a team can turn around rather quickly, and even though the Raiders don't have a top overall draft pick stud quarterback in the fold, I think they can get away with a second-round pick as long as some of the other needs are met. At least 5 of these upcoming picks in the 23 draft need to hit, including a young QB, 1 linebacker, 2 corners, 1 offensive lineman. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it only took 6 to burn it to the ground. Love you, Raider Nation. Let's all take a deep breath and have fun during this offiest of off seasons. Your faithful and humble servant, T-Hom. P.S. F. Shannon Sharp. All right. Appreciate you all very much in the chat room for being patient with me, man. I'm the one-man show tonight, and I'm all over the place. And appreciate you, T-Hom, for that great email. All right. Next up is our good buddy, Paul. Let me go ahead and get Paul ready. Paul's Paul? Yeah, because there we go. I got Paul's Paul ready. I get the button handy now. Evening, everybody. Hope you're well. I'd like to dedicate this email to the players and staff of Super Bowl 18, whose anniversary we recently celebrated. And to the naive, foolish 17-year-old I was back then who thought this Raiders fandom thing was going to be easy. It was a much simpler time, as they sure hell have beaten the confidence out of me for 39 years since. Salute to Coach Flores and all that were involved on that wonderful day. Marcus will forever be running with the night. Paul, you're going to love then our Super Bowl, I say Super Bowl protest show, but it's really going to be a Super Bowl tribute show for Super Bowl 18. You're going to love it. We've got a really, really just a jam-packed show, all nothing but dedicated to that glorious game, Black Sunday. The Raiders are making me nervous. Even in the offseason, they're making me anxious, and this whole quarterback thing has me losing sleep. It's agony waiting to find out what's going to happen. I need somebody to tell us what's happening with Tom Brady. Well, there you go. You know. Let's see. He talks a lot about Tom Brady, so I'm going to skip that. Will Josh Jacobs be so keen to sign if he's along Stidham, Garoppolo, or Brissett? What will Devontae Adams' outlook be if he's alongside a rookie QB that has to waste another couple years? I don't think so. I think we might be in trouble with Garoppolo with Devontae because Garoppolo is not a vertical passer. Stidham clearly is. Brissett is. But Garoppolo is not. And depending on what rookie you bring in, he could be too. But I think that if you've got a Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know if Devontae is going to like playing with him very much. And frankly, I don't like the Jimmy G thing anyways. I know that it makes sense in some ways, but injuries, man. Like if you're just going to bring in a guy and end up being, having Jarrett Stidham playing anyways, well then just keep Jarrett Stidham and just draft a guy. One of the things we can agree or guarantee next year is McDaniels has to win. He doesn't have the option of going 9-8 or worse. He has to make the playoffs at the very least. And even that might not save him. For that reason, I believe he has to get a veteran QB. Let's face it, he has to get Brady. Well, but then that's out the window now. Just suppose for a minute we don't get him. What's the plan B? Okay, here we go. Do we have a plan B considering they didn't have one during the games last season? Can we trust them to have one now? I'm laying awake at night wondering what such a plan might consist of, and the only names I can come up with are Garoppolo, Stidham, or Brissett, which scares the shit out of me. I've said previously that I want this draft to be 85% defense. We have to address it as a matter of urgency. But do we still need to have a trustworthy quarterback? And although Stidham did an okay job for a couple of games, there was no pressure on him at the time, so it was a free hit regardless of results. As a starting QB, it would be a whole new ball game. So the real reason I'm nervous is a lack of faith in the front office. For every good decision we have made, we seem to make a couple of bad ones. Example, Ziegler gets Adams, outstanding move without question, but then he overpays Darren Waller when he should have waited and put together a dreadful contract as well for Chandler Jones. It's not just about making big decisions, it's about making the right ones. I don't think we can tiptoe our way through this. We have to be brave, grab everything by the nuts and go for it. But with an air of caution with the contracts. No more Chandler Jones style, please. And I hear you, but I also, Paul, it's to be considered that if you don't take a swing on contracts, you don't get these guys. So that's the challenge, man. But you're right. It's making the right choice. And you just don't know what the right choice is. Although if you listen to that podcast, Max Crosby will tell you Chandler Jones balled out. We heard that rhetoric from the coaching staff that Chandler Jones is having a great season. He's just not showing up on the stat line. Well, and I was like, bullshit. I called bullshit on that one big time. But when you listen to Max Crosby, he's all about it. He's all about some Chandler Jones. And so, I got to trust his opinion better than my own. So I would just submit that to you to consider. So what do you want? Oh, see, that's Brady stuff. We'll skip that. And then he says, elsewhere, the league managed to contrive a way for Kermit and his obnoxious clan to move to the Super Bowl by inventing new rules on the spot. But the good news is, if the Eagles play the way they did against Santa Clara, then the Kermit's ankle could be hanging by a thread at the end of the first quarter. I wait with eager anticipation and a raft of frog jokes at the ready. Go for the ankle. Go for the ankle, Eagles. That's the only thing that can stop you is corruption. Stay safe, RFR family. Love you, Raider Nation. His Lordship, the Royal Scribe, Paul Edgerton, Shropshire, Mississippi, Polly Award winner 2019 and 2022, Foggy Glasses Award winner 2020, BRT Sizzler Scorekeeper, Proud Made Man, five-time, times two, winner of the Raiders Fan Radio BRT Sizzler Award. Whew. This is why I don't read emails. And we have an epilogue. Hey guys, it's me again. I had a brain fart and I missed an important piece of information in my email. On the last show, Mrs. OG Daniel won the BRT Sizzler Award, and she's in the chat room, I believe, tonight. So congratulations again on that. She also became the 5th member of the RFR family to become a made man or a made woman on the same night, and she's the first RFR Raiderette to do it. Nice. Excellent addendum there, Paul. We appreciate you so very much. Congratulations again, Miss OG Daniel. And Paul, you freaking rule, dude.
Paul. 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 Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul. Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul. Paul.
Claude. Claude. Claude.
Paul.
Paul. Paul. Paul. Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Your name, Paul? Paul. Paul.
I met him with Paul. Who? Paul.
Paul, yes, Paul.
Paul's not here. Hey, Paul. Paul.
Hi. I'm Paul.
All right. Appreciate you, Paul, and the amazing emails tonight from you and also from T-Hom. And if you want to email us, you can email us anytime at show. That's SHOW. Yes. Not 2 W's, just 1 W. But I just reiterated it to make sure you knew. So, yeah, just 1 W. So, SHOW at RaidersFanRadio.com. And anytime you want to email us, please do. And we will read your email on the show. And if we read your email an indefinite amount of times, you can become a made man or a made woman, or you can call the show and leave a voicemail. And if we play that 3 times on the show, you can become a made man or a made woman. And we've got some great calls to get to tonight. And if you would like to call the show, you can call us at 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. And leave us a message, and we would love to play it. And so we've had various guys kick off this segment over the years. Cousin Sonny's been doing it a lot lately. But now I think this is 3 in a row for our good buddy Mojo, man. Mojo's been bringing the takes. And done a fantastic job with it. So I really appreciate you, Mojo, for your calls and just the amount of support and loyalty you give to us here at RFR and the help that you're going to be giving to us. Mojo's going to be part of the freaking crew, man, on our, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but we've got some big plans around tailgates and whatnot coming up soon. And Mojo's going to be a big part of that, and his wife, Libby, as well. And we appreciate them so very much. So anyways, let's kick off the segment. Check down with our buddy in San Diego, Mojo.
Fellas, Raider Nation, what's up? Made men and women, it's your boy Mojo in San Diego. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this call. I think I'm just going to do it from a time machine. So I'm calling you from a car phone that hasn't been invented yet. Truth is, in 1984, I was probably playing.
Oh, yeah, this is Mojo calling us about the Super Bowl episode.
With G.I. Joes and Transformers. But either way, here we are, man. We just won the Super Bowl, dude. We just beat the Deadskins. Nobody thought we could do it. Greatest Raider team ever assembled. The Redskins only lost 1 game. this year leading up to us, and I think they had won like 31 games out of 36 by the time they met us in the Super Bowl, and Marcus Allen did what Marcus Allen does, right? God, I wish it was 1984, man. 2023 sucks compared to 1984. Think about it, man. I mean, everybody was doing cocaine, and it wasn't laced with fentanyl. People just dancing around, having wild sex. I don't even think AIDS was invented yet. Either way, hey, man, we're going to get back there one day. Everybody stick it out, all right? We might not like Josh McDaniels. I don't want to get too preachy. But it's all we got right now, dude. We're obviously going to have him next year. We're going to figure out the quarterback situation. We're going to build a defense in the offensive line. And damn it, maybe 2024, we take that Lombardi trophy to Las Vegas.
See, Mojo.
Till next time, Raider Nation. Just win, baby.
Oh, my.
Mojo out.
Oh, my gosh. He's the best. Oh, man. Chris Potts, Mojo's a legend. Ebony Graves says, I almost fell off the treadmill. He's out of control, man. He's out of control. He's so funny. All right. Anyways, appreciate you, Mojo, very, very much. All right. Next up, let's go from so speaking of Jersey, I know our buddy Chris Potts is in there. Let's head on up there into the to the Northeast and check in with our buddy Rev Rader, who we know is in Jersey.
What's going on, Murph? Uncle Mosh, Young Swaggo, Michelle Sweat. This is Rev Rader calling from Jersey. Just wanted to weigh in a little bit on that Hondo Carpenter article. You know, a lot of interesting takeaways. You know, and we can see it was a fair article. I like what I read, but it just demonstrates different coaching styles and how it may or may not mesh with people. You know, a lot of people would take it as DC was like, he couldn't be coached or he's not taking accountability. I ain't really take that, you know, take it that way. I believe that he does have a certain accountability taken when the coach was like, he probably had coaches that would give him that tough love behind closed doors and not in front of the rest of the team. But Josh McDaniels, he'll do it right in front of the rest of the team. Now, we can look at it. It's a little bit of an old school feel because he's coming from the Belichick coaching tree, which is also a stem of the Parcells coaching tree, and that's what they do. You know, they're going to hold their top guys accountable in front of everybody else because of the fact that the rest of the team is going to realize, hey, if he's holding him accountable and he's going in on him in front of us, what will he do to me if I screwed up? So that sets a higher standard. I respect that, you know, maybe because I'm a little bit more old school, but I respect that, you know, and I'm cool with it. And so it's sad. I wish that it would have worked out with DC. I still think DC could have done better. You know, I think he would have improved, but it is what it is. Let the cards fall where they may. This is where we're at now, you know. And now, like, we still have a divide that bugs me out. I knew this was going to happen. Once DC is out the way, we're going to find a new thing to argue about. Now it's about Brady, whether he comes or not. People are mad if he comes. If he comes, you're going to root for him regardless, you know. So let's knock it off. And to those people who are saying yay or nay and then questioning somebody else's fandom because of that, you're not a Raider if you believe it. Come on, man. This mindset of if you don't agree with me, cancel culture type stuff, it's a little soft and it's a sucker move for me. That's just where I'm at.
Preach, Rev.
You know, pull your skirts up, agree to disagree, you know, and we could still be great in our fandom. Let's root for our team and do what we need to do. All right? Love you guys. Peace.
Oh, my gosh. I freaking love that call. I love that call. I put my thumb on a scale sometimes for Rev. We award a Sizzler Award for whoever we think is the best of the emailers or phone callers of the night. And, Uncle Mosh would pick that. Jeff would pick that. Michelle would pick that. Somebody else besides me. I defer to the chat room because I don't want to pick. But I will tell you, man, Rev Rader always bringing some great takes, and we appreciate him. Paul says there appears to be a fair few of the nation in Jersey. Chris Potts, Rev Rader, and our brother Wasted Talent. Absolutely. And I got to tell you guys, Jersey was one of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole was one of the first fan clubs that got behind us and freaking, really supported Raiders Fan Radio and what we were doing. And shout out Chuck McCann, of course, Splatterhead Charlie. We appreciate him so very much, the president of that club. But Groby and, Fitz and Chris Potts and all those guys up there and girls, all of y'all, man, that had our back from up there in Jersey. That was really early on. And there was a point in time where I don't know if you all remember, if you've been around long enough to remember the Fan Club Blitz, but they used to do a show live from their watch parties and stuff, called it the Fan Club Blitz, and we featured it here on the network. And so, much respect to all of you Raider fans up there in Jersey. Of course, I believe it's South Jersey or the Jersey Shore Raiders is where Phil Villapiano is. And so I think that probably has bred a lot of Raider fandom, being that that's where he's from and where's his Jersey pride, loud and literally and figuratively. And so we appreciate you all very, very much, all of you up there, for still doing what you do to represent Raider Nation on the East Coast. All right. To go from Jersey all the way down to LA, not Los Angeles, I'm talking about Lower Alabama, and let's check in with our buddy Josh in the 703.
What up, fam? I was doing some thinking and something really struck me. For this phone call, I want to give some respect. I want to give some respect to the RFR crew.
Oh, man, thank you.
Something that you said, Murph, really stuck with me, especially when you see how everyone kind of interacts and everything and all the negativity and the bashing and all that stuff, is I've heard you and the crew say multiple times, you're not going to tell me how to be a fan. No one can tell you how to be a fan. Respect each other's fandom. And I really like that. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
We're not all going to agree on everything. We're all going to see things differently. I like to show respect, especially to those that come before me, who've been around longer and stuff. Doesn't mean I have to agree with them, but I usually show respect to them. And even those that come after me, again, whether I agree or disagree with them, still, guys, respect is important, And I like how you said that. You've been a Raider fan longer than I have, and, you aren't going to try to tell me how to be a fan. I've been a fan longer than Swag Jeff. I can't tell him how to be a fan. We all have differentiating opinions on what it means to be a Raider fan. We have a lot of things that we agree on, but there's certain things we disagree on. It's like this whole Tom Brady thing. My belief is I don't really hate many players. I know one person that probably a lot of Raider fans hate, Travis Kelce. I don't hate Travis Kelce. I hate that we can't cover Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
But I don't hate the man.
Amen.
You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, I got a real strong dislike, a little bit of hate for Tom Brady.
I'm with you. I don't hate anybody, but John Elway is about as close as you can get.
So when I say I don't want him on my team, that's how me as a fan reacts to him. Most other guys you put on our team, I'd be like, hey, can he help us improve? Great. Tom Brady's just kind of, he's an outlier. I'm just like, I don't want that motherfucker anywhere near us. But that's what I know. Like how you were talking about with Jerry Rice, and then Jerry Rice came over to the Raiders.
Another guy.
I never had that hate for Jerry Rice. So
I got enough for both of us.
But again, I just want to say respect. I appreciate what y'all do. That's all the haters out there. Man, f*** you if you don't like it.
There you go. Paul says Phillip Rivers. That's way up there. If you can put Phillip and LaDainian, we got to do. It'd be fun to do a little segment on most, because we won't use the word hate because we don't want to hate anybody. Like he said so greatly there about Travis Kelce. I don't hate Travis Kelce, the person, but I hate the player. You know what I mean? So, but it would be interesting to come up with like the players. Like to me, it's like Elway is number one, like that, you know, and that's probably part because of age. You know, if you ask Uncle Mosh, you know, he might tell you Terry Bradshaw, you know, that, and he actually likes Terry Bradshaw as a broadcaster, but as a player, like I think like it's up there. It's one of the freaking, you know, it's one of the Steelers back in the day because that's who the Raiders were battling with every single year in the playoffs to, you know, whether it's the AFC Championship game or it was divisional round or whatever. Like you look at the amount of times that we met up with the Steelers from, you know, between 72 and 82 or 84 even, because we played the year we won Black Sunday. Started off divisional round against the Steelers. Like so many freaking games against the Steelers. So anyways, point being those, everybody's probably depending on your fan era and which I think that's why so many like younger fans, I will say, hate Tom Brady because where I don't have that same level of hatred because that's the most recent thing where to me more like now, like it's Kelce and it's like Mahomes. I can't stand Patrick Mahomes. I can't stand the way he jogs. I can't stand the way his voice sounds. He's an amazing quarterback, but God dang it, I can't stand that guy. Like everything about him bugs the shit out of me. Just like Phillip used to be the same way. Everything about Phillip Rivers bugs the shit out of me. Like I can't stand the guy. But anyway, so and now it's Russell Wilson too, right? Like there's another one. Speaking of Broncos quarterbacks, but whatever. But that'd be fun. We got to put together a list this offseason. We got to have you guys submit your top 10 list of most you know hated player. Again, I use that word, hated players. But all right, that'd be fun. Great stuff there from Josh in the 703. All right, this is interesting, and I wish that Swaggo was here, and Michelle too, of course, But Michelle wasn't around other than she was in the chat room when this stuff was going on, but she wasn't on the show yet. But we had a guy, so there's a little bit of a backstory here. This guy used to jump into our chat all the time. His name is Jefe and KC, and he used to get into our chat a lot. And I always say, and I say this about any fan of any other team, if you want to get into our chat and be part of it, and we've had this happen numerous times over the years, if you want to get into our chat as an opposing team's fan and play around and talk some smack, whatever, we got thick skin, we're fine. But don't cross the line. Don't attack people personally. Don't attack like, you know, physical traits, things like that, right? Like don't push. Like you want to talk some shit about, you know, we own you, whatever, because your team and blah, 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 blah. Like fine. Like again, we all got thick skin, but there's a line that can be crossed and you know the line when you see it. Okay. And this guy crossed the line. Now, that said, we are also fans around here of a redemption story. You know, I want to be forgiven one day, and we all should be, and we all should be forgivers, right? I think that's an important trait for us to all have. And so here's this guy called the show out of nowhere. He's literally blocked from our chat. He hasn't been in our chat forever because he freaking ran it one too many times, and he got himself, you know, bounced from the chat. So he called the show, and I'll tell you what, I'm just going to play his call, and I'll let you decide from yourself. This is diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, Jefe and KC, calling Raiders Fan Radio.
Raider Fan Radio. This is Jefe KC. I'm calling to say, hey, I want to make amends. We could be friends. If I said anything offensive to you, I apologize. But I want to say you guys are an awesome channel. And I thank you for allowing me on there, talk, and, you know, go back and forth with your fans. And you're a good dude. You guys are good dudes. I appreciate you guys. And, you know, what can I say? But we're going to represent the AFC West in the Super Bowl. And I hope you guys could, you know, at least find it in your hearts to show us a little bit of love and root on the AFC West. Go Chiefs. This is Jefe KC signing out.
All right. Look, it takes a lot of balls to do that. I'll give him that. You know, that takes some guts, and I appreciate his willingness to call. And no, we're not going to root for your team ever. Like, that's the most ridiculous sentiment. Like, that's where you lost me a little bit there, bud. Like, there's never a scenario where we root for the Chiefs, like, ever. No, this is not the SEC rooting for our fellow teams or the, hey, Big Ten represent. No, that don't exist in pro sports, man. So sorry. If you're a Bronco or a Chief or a Charger, we wish you forever losses. Like, that's going to always be the case. Now, in terms of like you being part of our show, sure. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how you reinstate somebody. But I mean, I would be willing to let you like dabble again, but I don't know, man. You've been bounced once, so I don't know. Call us again. Call us back. Let us know. I don't know. Whatever. Motivation behind it, like whatever. But no, we're not rooting for your effing team and screw your team. But I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate your contrition, and I appreciate your apology and your willingness to like want to still be part of the show. Like that means a lot. Like this show is nothing without listeners, and that includes even listeners of and that support dumbass teams that look like Ronald McDonald when they take the field on Sundays and sound like Kermit the Frog. All right. Appreciate you, Jefe and KC. All right, next up, let's check in with no doubting these guys' fandom. Let's check in with our buddies out in Fremont, California. You know them, you love them. The legends, they're legendary at this point on this damn show. I'm talking about Matthew. I'm talking about Matthew. I'm talking about Daniel. I'm talking about the Mangus boys.
Good evening, OFR. It's time to take care of some formalities. First on the agenda is thank you, Derek Carr, for 9 seasons. Yeah, thank you, DC. Thank you. We love you, man. We love you, DC. Thank you. The Mangus family actually appreciates you because of what you did for our dad. Sending your signed rookie card, a signed football, and saying that you take care of him if he ever wanted to go to a game that year. It meant more to my dad than any. My dad was your number one fan. So thank you, DC, for 9 seasons. We hope nothing but the best for you. Yeah, thank you, DC. Go win a Super Bowl. Thank you, DC. Go win a Super Bowl, kid. Go win yourself a Super Bowl. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, tonight, D-Generation Mangus is proud to give you its 2-time defending RFR Gemini Man Tag Team Champions of the World, the Road Dog Daniel Mangus, the Badass Matthew Mangus, the New Age Outlaw. That's right, we are getting ready for the Fanny Awards, which probably in the fan cave is WrestleMania. And we are sending the challenge out to anyone who dare wants to take these champions down. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the Raider Karaoke Kid took these belts away from us. What we did, we kicked the ever-loving crap out of them. So if anyone wants to take these tag team championship belts from us, we challenge them to a match at the Fannies, one-on-one, mono, it is the Twins versus anyone in the locker room. And if you ain't down with that, well, we got 2 words for ya. Suck it!
Oh my gosh, the Mangus boys with their wrestling promos. All right, that's good stuff there from the Mangus boys. And, listen, I can appreciate that. Listen, that's a very kind thing Derek Carr did for your dad, and I totally understand. Like, now, I don't know about go win a Super Bowl, because if Derek Carr's winning a Super Bowl, then the Raiders aren't. So, not sure I'm entirely connected with that, but I get the sentiment, though, man. I get you want him to do his whatever, live his best life, and that's great. But I love the hot take there. So they're referring to anybody that wants to take on D-Generation Mangus there in the Fanny Awards, where to win basically it's best wins, right? And so which they've held that record and that title and a few different things as well. And so we appreciate you. All right, let's see, Chuckles in there, $20 donation. Let's go. Thank you, Chuckles. That's awesome, man. Chuckles says you should make that Chiefs fan make a donation to the show to give to the charity. F the Chiefs. Raiders! That is, thank you. The chat room, this is why you guys are smarter than we are. You know more about football. You're funnier than we are. That's a great idea. There you go. That's it. That's the way. Jefe and KC, if you want to make your way back into the good graces of freaking Raiders Fan Radio, make a donation to the foundation. You can go to onenationfoundation.net, hit the donate button. We'll take you directly to PayPal, and it's perfectly clean money. Google doesn't take a cut, anything else. Just make one straight donation. Put in the notes that it's from you, because it's going to probably have your real name or whatever's associated with your PayPal. Put it in there. This is from Jefe and KC. Make it us a nice little donation in there, and we'll bring you back in to the chat room. That is a killer idea, Chuckles. We appreciate you, man. That is awesome, and thank you so much for that $19.99 donation. Javi California in there with a $1.99 donation says, Carr and McDaniel's system year 2 is better than Rodgers and McDaniel's system year 1. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, though, man, my man. Carr is gone. Like, he gone. Like, I don't think that this thing is irreversible at this point. So I think it's a moot point, but I'm not gonna say you're wrong, because we don't know, but that's a really cool idea to speculate on. That's very interesting. I mean, I don't know. It's Aaron Rodgers, man. Like, I don't know how you. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, man. So I don't know how I could say that Derek would be better in year 2, but I get the point, though, that like longer in the system, more efficient in it. But you know what, though? I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm going to say this. The whole thing in that Hondo article was about how Derek didn't embrace the McDaniel system. So if he doesn't embrace the system, then maybe he wouldn't be better in it. I mean, I get the idea of time spent, so familiarity is increased. But if you're not into what you're doing, then maybe you're not, because you're going to be a little more reluctant. And I think that's what ultimately led to the benching. Interesting, though. That's still a good point of conversation for sure. All right, I got one more to get to, and this is a long-ass one, and we got to get out of here. We should be good right at about the 2-hour mark. This is Corey in Cincinnati. New caller to the show, which we always love to have new callers to the show. And Corey calls 3 times. So Corey's got this long-ass email. You caught us on a great night because it's a selfie. There's not a ton of news going on. So it's good timing to get one of these long ass calls in, but I'm going to break it up as he takes pauses in between these calls. I'm going to break it up and we'll kind of make some comments and have this conversational around it instead of just playing the whole thing through. But this guy, and Corey makes great points. Not only is he a new caller, caught us on a great night, but then also he makes great points and he brings up some things that frankly I hadn't really considered, other than just fleeting thoughts. So let's go ahead and check in with our buddy Corey in Cincinnati, and again, chat room, keep it coming, man, because I want to go back and read what your thoughts are on all this stuff as well.
Hello, Raider Fan Radio.
Hey, Corey.
Raider family, Raider Nation. Hey, my name's Corey, calling from Cincinnati, Ohio. Long-time listener, first-time caller, and just wanted to hit you guys up real quick. I have a lot to say, and there's no way I'll be able to do it in 3 minutes, so the heck with Google Voice. First of all, I'm going to start with a little bit about me. 56 years old, going to be 57 in a couple of weeks, hopefully, who knows. And been a longtime Raider fan. I remember the great teams of old. I saw Lyle Alzado play. I remember when you guys mentioned this guy, and I'm glad you did about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I should say. The original Mad, which is our boy linebacker
Matt Millen.
What's his name? Matt Millen.
There you go.
One of the great Raider linebackers of all time, probably the greatest middle linebacker we've ever had.
He's up there.
And I remember those great teams, saw the great players. And I fell in love with this team then. Having problems keeping my love with them now, but we'll always be there. One of the reasons I'm calling is also in, 2019? Yeah, I think it was 2019. I had a chance to go to a Raider game in Oakland. It was probably my 3rd trip to Oakland, thank goodness. And it was the Cincinnati versus Raider game. It was the second to last home game in Oakland. And I ran into a guy who was the Raider historian, and I believe he calls into this show.
Houston Raider Steve.
And I talked to him, and he told me that you guys were there, and I had just missed you. And that was a great experience, and he told me I should call in. So
glad you did, bud.
For Raider Historian, here I am calling in on you, and I will get back with you guys on my next call, and I will go in more depth about.
All right, so there we go. So there's Corey in Cincinnati at the first round. Octavio in the chat room says DC is my QB. Get a new offensive coordinator and win a Super Bowl in Vegas. Now that's a pretty controversial opinion right now, Octavio, but I appreciate that $4.99 donation. That 100% is going to go to the One Nation Foundation, and appreciate you very, very much. It is very, very kind of you. And hey, look, if that's your guy, that's your guy. I'm not gonna, like like Josh said earlier, I'm not gonna tell you how to fandom your fandom, man. Like here's my only criteria for Raider fans: the passion and the enthusiasm and that which you support your team. That's it. I don't care how long you've been a fan for. I don't care how much gear you have. I don't care how many games you've been to. I don't care where you live, where you're from. None of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is the amount of oomph that you put into your fandom. And look, so if that's the way that you put oomph into it, then hey man, do your thing. I would say this though. DC may be your guy, but are the Raiders your team? And I think that's the conversation where it ends for me, is that I don't have any feeling of any one way or the other versus for any player, but I got a hell of a lot of feelings for the Shield, and like this is where it's defined for me. All right. Oh, dang. Pineapple. Thank you, Pineapple. With a $20 donation. Great one-man show, Murph. Aloha, DC. Hey, listen, thank you very, very much for that $20 donation from our good buddy out there, Pineapple, who is, of course, out there in Hawaii. We appreciate you so very, very much. Yeah, man, I don't love to do selfies because I don't ever want to be talking at you. Like, I want us to be conversational, which is why I love the chat room so very, very much, and why we love the voicemails and why we love the, the emails and all that, because this needs to be a conversation. I think that's what makes Raiders Fan Radio a fun place to be, is that it's conversational. So it kind of works against my core a little bit to get on and just do a show alone. But so I appreciate those kind words, because that makes me feel better about what we're doing here tonight, and that, it's not just me, spousing my freaking opinions at you. So appreciate that, Pineapple. And so that money, so for those of you that don't know, we have a nonprofit organization called the One Nation Foundation. When we knew we could make money with this show, we formed this a few years ago. And what we do with that money is we give to all Raiders related charities. So all the money that we raise here with that, Javi in California with another $5 in there as I'm speaking. Carr works hard, gives everything, doesn't complain, doesn't, love that guy. Definitely my favorite. Hey, more power to you, man. That's your favorite. That's your guy. That's your guy. And I don't disagree with anything that you said. And he was my favorite guy too, until he wasn't in silver and black. I guess he is technically still for a hot minute, but after that, I'm in for the next guy. Just like I was in for Kenny Stabler, just like I was in for Jim Plunkett, just like I was in for Jay Schrader, just like I was in for Jamarcus Russell and Aaron Brooks and anybody else that donned that silver and black and played quarterback. I was in for that guy, and so I will be in for the next. All right, next up. So what I want to talk about, this One Nation Foundation. So any of the money that we get from you guys goes to the One Nation Foundation via those super chats. Advertising dollars we raise, any of that kind of stuff goes to our foundation. We give to Raiders related charities. I've got something I'm going to show you here. So we presented a check for $10,000 to the Bolitnikoff Foundation just a couple months ago. And while we were there, so you can see it says on it, 2022 Bolitnikoff Foundation. Right underneath it is George Atkinson's signature. Just to the opposite side of that, you see Jim Plunkett. There you see Rod Martin. There you see Fred Bolitnikoff. There you see all-time sack leader Greg Townsend. There you see Marcus Allen is underneath there. This ball has all 3 Raiders Super Bowl MVPs, plus Shooter McGavin, plus also Lincoln Kennedy on there. And we've got 2 of these things, and we're auctioning these things off for the foundation. So if you want to make an offer on it, we're looking to get a couple of grand at least, if not $2,500 for each one of these things. And 100% of that money goes to the foundation. We're going to have them JSA certified. That's happening in March. So you're getting a legit piece of memorabilia. And if we can't hit our minimums on it, we got to send it to an auction house, which I really don't want to do. I'd rather that go to one of you out there or someone that you know. Or so if you know anybody that, like, I know it's a lot of money. That's a big ass price tag. So I appreciate you even considering that. But if you've got the means, if you're getting a tax return, you want to get something that's literally a one-off, that you'll never find anywhere else, and it's going to be certified. Send me an email, Murph at Raiders Fan Radio. That's MURF at RaidersFanRadio.com. We appreciate you very, very much for even considering that, and know that, like, our goal this year is to raise 15 grand, and we're going to get there. We've already got the first one in the books. We got our first $1,000 in, and we're gonna run this thing to 15 G's to take down to Angela and Fred and present them a big old check. And speaking of that, Foxy Scorpio. Thank you so much. He says, Foxy says, see, Foxy isn't a dirtbag all the time. Man, $49.99. Drop the 50 on us. We appreciate you so very, very much, Foxy Scorpio. Foxy Scorpio is in our chat room all the time, every single week. Incredibly loyal listener and supporter of Raiders Fan Radio. And drop him $50 in there, man. That is absolutely bananas. Thank you so very much. On a night when we're not even giving anything away. Like, that's insane, bro. Like, thank you so much. Like, very, very kind. Dropping that 50. Octavio with another $1.99. DC is more a Raider than Davis or McD will ever be. I don't know about that, man. You go to Allegiant Stadium, like, I mean, I appreciate your donation first and foremost. But I mean, Allegiant Stadium is a shrine to the Raiders. Like, Mark Davis is clearly a Raider fan, so I'm not sure about that. But all right. Anyways, thank you so very, very much for all those. Let's close out these emails. Who'd have thunk we'd go 2 hours of the freaking podcast selfie, but here we are. All right, let's check back in with our buddy Corey in Cincinnati.
7 Raider Booster Club out of Vaca Valley. I am a proud member. They took me in out of the blue without knowing me and have allowed me to stay with that group up until now. And I'd also like to hit up Mikey Raider. I started listening to this show because of Mondays with Mikey and Murph. So, Mikey, keep it up, buddy. Hang in there, and we'll get back with you. All right, it's Corey again, calling back with episode number 2. Hey, just want to give a shout out to you guys. That would be Murph, Uncle Mosh. Hey, we miss you. Swag Jeff and Michelle. Appreciate you guys. Was it QB Jeff? And I can't remember the other guy's name, but I know there's another one that comes in every now and then, man.
CPA Joel.
Show, and it's much appreciated because, you know, us Raider fans have to vent from time to time, more so than ever now. And I also want to give another shout out to one more Raider creator, and that's Watts Raider. I go back and forth with him from time to time.
Absolutely.
On this show. So I just want to hit some shouts out to people that I appreciate as a Raider fan.
Watts is a good guy, man.
Platform for us to vent and do our thing. Hey, you guys. This team is, well, I'll just say this. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I think we just jumped back to 2012 again for no reason, but that's where we're at. And I don't know how this next season is going to play out. I can't stand this kind of off season where we have these wild rumors and takes about what the Raiders are going to do and what everybody else is going to do, what player's going to go here, what player's going to go there. We have no idea. And with this regime, and it's their first real draft, we really don't know what's going to happen. I just know that we are several years away, again, for the umpteenth millionth time, for being relevant. I don't see the Raiders catching lightning in a bottle. I think sometimes Mark Davis thinks that he can just put any team or any coaches out there and hopefully things are going to fall into place and we're going to be good. I just don't see the Raiders. We're just not that kind of team. The NFL's not going to let us do that. So I can't be more disappointed in what's going on. We'll see what Derek does when he goes someplace else. I hope Devontae stays. I hope Josh Jacobs stays. But I don't feel good about it. And Lord knows this defense needs all the help it can get. For the fans who are younger, who are under 30 years old or 30-ish, that have never seen the Raiders win or be relevant, I really feel for you guys. And I really hope that in the next couple of years you have something to root for, because the this fan base deserves, like that guy said that got removed from the game, we deserve better. Mark Davis. The hell with you, Google Voice. I'll be back.
All right. So you had a lot there on that portion of the call. And then we got one more little segment from him, and then we're going to get out of here. But it's, it's hard not to be critical of the front office, man. Like, I get it. I totally get it. Now, I think front office gets more runway, or even coaching staff gets more runway than players, because players are like, look, NFL is the ultimate meritocracy. Like, you either do or you don't. Like, and yes, we can build in excuses and we can build in a lot of different reasons. But when you look at individual performances, like, it's the tape don't lie, ball don't lie. Like, it's right there. Now you can't say the same for GMs and front offices, I think, because you can't like expect them to just hit on every single tiny thing. Now, you can't expect them to hit more often than not, but last year, when they've only had a draft with starting in the third round because they gave up, so much for Devontae, which was justified. I think we can all agree that was very fair. So, I think you got to give them a little more runway. I get it. The results are not what we want. And ultimately, that's all that counts. But I think you got to let it play out. And I think nothing demonstrates that more than what the Chiefs did in this past draft class. And, we talk a lot about how the rookie quarterback contracts, about how that's beneficial to the team. And when you overpay for a quarterback, you don't have enough money to spend anywhere else. Well, there is one way to counter that, and that's to draft well. And the Chiefs paid Patrick Mahomes literally $500 million. They lost their most dynamic playmaker on offense in Tyreek Hill, and here they are still back into the Super Bowl. And here's why. And I'm going to read you this list of names, okay? And this is what the Raiders have to do. This is what we have to see Dave Ziegler do, and then see what Josh McDaniels does with the talent once it's acquired. But here's where I'm not going to judge yet Dave Ziegler, and at least what the front office is doing. The Chiefs draft class last year, in order of picks, cornerback Trent McDuffie, this is in the championship game, 6 tackles and 2 passes defended. Defensive end, George Karlaftis, whatever his last name is, got a sack. Wide receiver, Sky Moore, 3 catches and a key punt return. Safety, Brian Cook, 4 tackles and a pass broken up. Cornerback, Josh Williams, had a pick. Cornerback, Jalen Watson, had a pick. Running back, Isaiah Pacheco, 85 total yards in the championship game. That's their draft class in the AFC championship game. That's what's killing the Raiders. That's the things that have hurt us. The draft classes of John Gruden and Mike Mayock, and prior to that, Reggie McKenzie, yes, there were some dynamic players. Yes, there was Khalil Mack. Yes, there was Derek Carr. Yes, there was Gabe Jackson. Yes, there was Max Crosby. Yes, there was Hunter Renfrow. But there was also Jonathan Abram, right? There was also Cleveland Farrell. There was Colton Miller was a good one, but then who was the guy out of Houston that we took just after that? The other lineman, gone. Brandon Parker, gone. Like, you look at the majority of the draft picks have been ass. That's where the Raiders got to hit. So that's why I think the GM and the front office gets a little bit more runway. Let this thing play out a little bit. They get 2-3 years. That's where even I say that, like, once you go past player, you go to coach. If they start off 0-5 next year, yeah, McDaniels is on the hot seat, but I don't think Dave Ziegler is on the hot seat. That's what I'm screaming. All right, let's finish off Corey and Cincy's call, get to the Sizzler, and then get the heck out of here.
All right, Corey from Cincinnati again. Okay, I've been silent for way too long, and I have to get this off my chest, and you guys aren't going to like this. Raider Nation, I apologize now, but it's the way I feel, and I've been saying this since this Vegas thing happened. This whole Vegas move was a sham. This whole thing was a setup from the NFL. The NFL had plenty of money to help the Raiders build a stadium in Oakland. We did not have to move. This wasn't about a silly mayor in Oakland who didn't know what she was doing. It wasn't about land. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about any of that. This whole thing was to get the Raiders someplace where no one cared about them, to get them away from their ancestral home in Oakland or anywhere in California to some place that they could be irrelevant. The ultimate place for that is Vegas. So here we are in Vegas. I was at the Denver game. Yes, I was at the Denver game this season. First time ever going to Vegas. I had no desire to go to Vegas, but the Raiders are there, so I'm going to go. More Bronco fans there than Raider fans.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Look, this whole thing was about Raider Nation. They wanted to break the spirit of Raider Nation. The NFL knew that if they got the Raiders away from Oakland, away from California, that they would have a chance to take over this franchise. And I really believe that's what they're going to do. I really believe 10, 15 years, 20 years down the line, they're going to try to get Mark Davis, however long he keeps the team, out of there, and they're going to put a puppet regime, and they're going to change the colors, they're going to change the whole look of the Raiders, and they're going to be an NFL-run franchise, basically for the NFL, by the NFL. This whole thing was about us, Raider Nation. That's what this whole move to get us to Vegas is about. And now you're seeing it play out before your eyes. More away fans, more Kansas City fans, Giants fans. This is a travesty. And it's going to be up to us to change it. It's going to be up to Raider Nation to go out there and show the NFL that they can't win. They cannot break us. Nation, keep your head up and let's go. As Murph would say, let's go. It's on us. As far as this team goes, all we can do is hope for the best for the product that gets put on the field. Mark Davis, get your head out of your butt. All right.
All right, there he is. Corey in Cincinnati with the threefer. Oh man, so there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so I'll keep my comments brief. And Corey, I would say this, man. Like, no, it really kind of is the issue with Libby Schaff and the local politics in Oakland. There's a reason they're going to lose all three major sports franchises that they have in Oakland. You know, the Warriors now play across the street, across the bay in San Francisco. And, the A's are going to be soon gone to Vegas. And, look, there's a reason that the Niners left San Francisco. Well, they weren't even technically, they were in South San Francisco or whatever, but they left and now they play in Santa Clara, which is basically San Jose, which is like 10 minutes from where I grew up. There's a reason all those teams have evacuated that area. And it's because it's an impossible area, or just about impossible area to try to get any kind of funding, to get past all the EPA regulations. Like, there's so much freaking red tape, not to mention a mayor that didn't support the existence of the franchises to begin with. So there's a reason that all of these teams have left. It's not just a Raider thing. So I don't know if I agree with that entirely. And look, if there was a little bit of, Mark Davis saying, recognizing that, yes, I would rather be here, but there's not a way for me to make it work. So I'm going to leave this place and go to another place to get the facility that I want. I mean, I can't hate on him for that. It's what his dad did. That's why the Raiders ended up in freaking LA. That's why they were originally, they were going to go to Inglewood. You watched Al Davis versus the NFL. He was doing everything he possibly could. And this is back in the freaking 70s, man. So this, the California politics is a complicated landscape, man. So, and I won't get into that part of it, but I will just say this, that like, there's a reason the Raiders aren't there anymore. And it doesn't have anything to do, I don't believe, with any giant conspiracy theory. And I think that there was a certain level of acceptance that Mark Davis had to have in terms of like, just like one of the early stories that we talked about tonight, that like they knew that the opposing team's fans thing was going to be a thing. And I think that was an accepted consequence to get the damn team where they wanted to be with what they wanted to have. I think that was what it was. And so, and then last I'll say this is that if perchance, so the slight chance that there's a giant conspiracy theory and it's going to be a puppet regime and run by, whatever else, and they're going to change the colors and change the name, well, then guess what? I'm not a Raider fan anymore. Like that's what I'm not from Las Vegas. I don't have any ties to Vegas. I'm from San Jose. I'm a Bay Area guy. Like that's my ties. And so my ties are to the Shield. My ties are to Silver and Black. If they change their name to the Las Vegas Renegades, and they wear green and yellow, then I'm not a fan of them anymore. I'll find another team to root for. Like, or I'll still be a Raider fan. I'll just be a fan of the team that once existed, you know? So anyway, and I'm sure there are many that would echo that sentiment. They're like, I'm not rooting for those people anymore. I don't care who it is. So anyways, but great. Let me finish with this though. Great calls. Keep them coming. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Love to hear it, man. I appreciate you very, very much.
Nobody enjoyed a good Donnybrook more than sixth-year linebacker Phil Villapiano.
This is Phil Villapiano, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, appreciate Miss Ebony Graves in there with a $20 donation. She says, great selfie, Murph, and can't wait till retirement. Hey, congratulations on that. We appreciate your hard work and the dedication that you put into the school system, and I know that you're definitely going to look forward to being retired, and I'm with you, but I got a little ways to go still. Yeah, that is awesome. We appreciate you, Miss Ebony Graves. Again, that $20 goes to the One Nation Foundation. All right, let me get out of here. We got to award a Sizzler Award. So I don't know if you guys even remember, this segment has been so damn long. Let me just go. I don't usually do this. I don't usually pick a Sizzler Award, but I'm going to go ahead and pick one tonight because I love this guy. I love his call. I love his takes. I appreciate everybody that has called tonight. I appreciate Josh in the 703, Jefe and KC, Mojo, of course, the Mangus boys, Corey in Cincinnati. Appreciate the emails from Tom. Appreciate the email from Paul. But tonight's BRT Sizzler Award is going to go to my guy, Rev Rader up in Jersey.
I am the Sizzler.
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 We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders!
You know why we out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
All right, we got some controversy in the chat room there, but Mojo was robbed. Mojo, man, he's got all the Sizzlers, I think. Doesn't he have a whole bunch of them? I think Rev's got a bunch of them too, but yes, of course. Actually, you know, they were, how about this? I'll tell you what. Says, you know what? You want to I put my thumb on a scale. Chat room, you put your thumb on a scale. Let's give Mojo a Sizzler too. Give him each one there, Paul.
I am the Sizzler.
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 Sizzler. Sizzler.
Sizzler. Sizzler.
All right, appreciate you all very, very much tonight. Black Sales Hauling in there says, I work for the utility company out here in California and the Bay Area. It's all in caps. It's impossible to get anything moving past all the red tape. San Jose in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you, Black Sales Hauling. And yeah, San Jose, man, represent. That's where I lived all over that city. I lived in Almaden. I lived in Seven Trees. I lived in, I don't know, I lived in downtown. I've lived all over. I lived in Campbell. I lived all over the place in California and in San Jose. But appreciate you. I even lived in Morgan Hill for a while. But appreciate you holding it down for San Jose. And best I can tell, it's a freaking Niner place now. But yeah, sucks that we don't have Raider Nation represented the way that we once used to, but oh well. All right. Thank you all very, very much tonight. Thank you everybody that's in the chat room tonight. Appreciate Paul is in there. Mojo is in there. Raider Flash is in there. Seattle Nick. Darren is in there. Miss Ebony Graves is in there. Edgar Bonilla is in there. Trinidad is in there. Jay Jackson is in there. Shout out Arizona Raider Nation. Lee B. Paul. Van City. Seattle Nick is in there. Black Sales, as I mentioned. Raider Flash is in there. So many of our good friends. We appreciate you very, very much for checking out this episode of Raiders Fan Radio. So as I mentioned, you can find us on the YouTubes at youtube.com/Raiders Fan Radio. You can find us on any podcast service just by searching for Raiders Fan Radio. You can find us on the socials. Hey, hit us up on the socials, man. We love our social media stuff, man. We love interacting with you guys on the socials. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the TikToks. All of it is at Raiders Fan Radio. You just, hey, man, give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, man, all that good stuff. Follow that. Just look for that. We'll follow you back. Like, man, we have a blast on the TikToks. We make stupid little videos and all that kind of stuff. Some are funnier than others, but we always have fun making them. And then, so check us out. Maybe tomorrow we'll have our Super Bowl show. We've got it all prepped and ready to go. Again, Swag Jeff, love you, brother. And hopefully he's good enough tomorrow to come back out and join us back. If not, we'll do it next week. No rush, man. And we love you. And so we're thinking about you. And so we'll find us tomorrow for the Super Bowl show, or it will be next week. And I'm trying to get Gulbranson in here. Come on, Scott. Any of you tag Scott Gulbranson on the Twitters and tell him, get your ass in the fan cave next week. I've been talking to Scott a little bit. He's going to come into town maybe to join us, go to a hockey game, and stay over an extra night and join us here in the fan cave. Talk a little Raiders football here in the fan cave. So hit old Scott up, man. Blow him up. Love you, Raider Nation. Thank you for the way you support the One Nation Foundation. Thank you for the support of this show. On behalf of Uncle Mosh, I love it when you guys bring up Uncle Mosh. We love him. We miss him in retirement. My buddy Swag Jeff, Michelle, Octavio in there. He says, $1.99 donation. Thank you. Right here at the buzzer. The shield reps an attitude. Damn right it does. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Raiders! Well, where's the damn... Oh, shit. I had to find the damn...
Just press the damn button.